So today I thought it would be fun if we looked at some weird things that we still have in Ireland today that we don't really need anymore, but that we kind of like having around. Modern Ireland is, generally speaking, a very contemporary society, very forward in technology and its ways of thinking. But we definitely still hang on to a lot of traditions and cultures, and along with that are just some quirky things that we still do and have today. And I thought it would be fun to look at them. Before we do that, your emotional subscription threat for the day is, if you don't subscribe, I'm going to get a ghost to come to your house and haunt you. Not a friendly ghost, mind you, one that moves your stuff around and generally irritates you. Not a bad ghost, but just a really annoying one. So subscribe or you'll have to deal with that. Coming in at number 10, it's the Angelus. The Angelus traditionally was a Catholic prayer, and in 1950 it was introduced to Irish television. RTE, the national broadcaster, would play the Angelus at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock every single day. Now, modern Ireland is not wholly Catholic anymore, but overwhelmingly we do still hang on to a lot of those traditions. However, the Angelus has now evolved to become this weird stock footage thing where you just kind of stop and reflect on the day at 12 and 6 o'clock. Every Irish person will be familiar with the bell. Still is nice to just sit and reflect at a certain time of day, even if it does have a religious connotation to it. I do recall as a child the Angelus coming on and just looking around and everybody had their heads bowed and I wasn't too sure what to do. So peer pressure, I just went. And if you're Irish, I bet you did too. At number 9, it's road signs in Irish. There's something strangely comforting about arriving back from the airport and seeing all your road signs as Gaeilge. In Ireland, it is a legal requirement to have all place names in Irish, and in some parts of Ireland, known as the Gaeltacht, they're exclusively in Irish. Most people who only have a cúpla focal like me really can't read or understand them, but there's just something really nice about it. When the Luas first came in, I remember thinking one of the coolest things was that they said all the stop names in Irish as well. My especially favourite part of that was when there wasn't actually an Irish translation of a place name, so they just said it in a generally Irish accent and a bit slower. Cowper. Cowper. Yeah. The next thing we still have is sugar sandwiches. Sugar sandwiches are a really comforting thing that you probably get from your grandparents. And here's the thing, your grandparents probably got it from their parents or grandparents. Sugar sandwiches were first brought in when rations were introduced to Ireland, and they were considered a huge treat. Now bear with me if you're not from Ireland, because they definitely sound gross, but honestly they're so delicious. You get white bread and then you get butter and then you just spread the crunchy shukra across all the bread, and then you push them together and then you just eat them, and it's delicious and it sounds gross and so unhealthy, but I guarantee you there are way unhealthier things out there than a sugar sandwich. They're kind of a pure bad thing, like they're so bad for you, we all acknowledge that they're bad for you and it's okay. But yeah, sugar sandwich and a glass of milk or a cup of tea. Nice. Up next, we've definitely touched upon the fact that Ireland is traditionally a religious country, and a lot of that hang-up is still there. And that exists in a lot of stuff that we do every day too. If you see an Irish person has lost their house keys and you see them talking to some random lad called Anthony, I promise there is a reason for it, they have not gone insane. Traditionally, people would pray to Saint Anthony, the finder of things. What a weird thing to be saint of. Anyway, St. Anthony supposedly found stuff for people, so when Irish people lose their stuff, we pray to St. Anthony and you go, St. Anthony help me, St. Anthony help me, St. Anthony help me. And without doubt, your stuff turns up again, probably because it was always going to turn up, but it makes us feel better to pray to St. Anthony. Another thing you'll find older relatives doing is saying that they're going to light a candle for you. And that comes up when you might have a worry or something, like you're waiting on exam results, and your relatives will say, I'm going to light a candle for you. And that means they're going to go to the church and they're going to light a candle. Actually, sometimes they don't even go to the church, they just light a candle. I guess pennies candles will do too. But yeah, again, even though you might not be religious, there's something really nice and comforting about the fact that we have these traditions, even if you do consider them hoobly boobly. I don't know what hoobly boobly is, I just said hoobly boobly. Hoobly boobly. The next thing that we definitely still have in Ireland, and you country people are going to hate it, It's Dublin people calling anybody but people from Dublin culshies. The reason it's kind of a nice thing is because it's a gentle jeering thing. Irish people love to slag each other off, so this is part of that. Dublin is obviously the capital city, and we kind of think of ourselves as the only city sometimes, even though there are places like Cork and Limerick and Galway. We call them the country. They're not remotely the countryside, but they just are referred to as such. Cork people would have you believe that they're the real city people, but no. Oh God, they're going to come for me. I love Cork. The next thing we have in Ireland that's definitely a bit outdated now is Airtel. This is now an enhanced digital version of the RTE teletext service. It's not quite the same as it used to be, but if you look hard enough, you'll find it on some TVs. Airtel is utterly pants, but it's all we had before we had TV guides on your TVs that are really efficient. You see, Airtel was like the oldest computer in the whole wide world. One that was really inefficient and wouldn't actually help you find anything. You had to wait for your page to come around, and then when it did, you had to hold the hold button, and sometimes you couldn't find the hold button, and sometimes the hold button didn't work. Airtel frequently glitched, so you'd just be seeing bits of like colourly squares. I remember turning on Airtel as a kid thinking I was super cool because I was like, don't worry, I'll look it up. Cut to 20 minutes later and I still couldn't find it. But yeah, there's still something nostalgic about Airtel, and occasionally when I Airbnb somewhere and find Airtel on the TV, it just gives me a warm little happy feeling in my belly. The next one does not give me old-fashioned vibes. It's just something that's always been around and really needs updating. It needs to go, Ireland. It needs to go. It's ATMs that only dispense €50 notes. There are a lot of ATMs that I know have never given out €10 or €20 notes. They never have, because I've been at them at all times of day, and the 10 and the €20 notes don't exist, don't even start on a €5 note. Ha! No. There is nothing worse than going to the ATM and it telling you it's only dispensing numbers of 50, because most of us don't even carry cash around anymore because it's annoying and we just use our cards. So usually you're getting it out to buy something small and then you have to get a €50 note and then your bank balance goes down and it's super annoying. Why don't they just put smaller notes in the machines? Probably because they don't want you to use notes, but I need to use notes to buy my chicken noodle soup from the Chinese takeaway. They don't have a card machine. It would be really nice if we could get ATMs that have smaller notes in them, okay, Ireland? That's just my 2 cents that I can't get from an ATM. And the penultimate thing we have in Ireland that we no longer need is useless sex education in schools. Now, when they said that they were going to do sex education in schools, I'm sure your parents assumed they were going to actually teach you something, but no. I'm not even saying that I would expect them to be super contemporary in their approach and talk about different norms and more modern ways of thinking to do with sex. I'm talking basic shiz. Irish sex education consists of usually your religion teacher. Yep, that's right, it was usually your religion teacher who taught you sex education. And how they would do it is, they would turn on a video. It wasn't even a video that was rolled out across Ireland. It was just a video that they felt like playing. And usually, it didn't even have anything to do with sex. They'd just play the video and then go, any questions? And hope you didn't ask any questions. The most I was ever taught by my school authority was about tampons, and that was when a tampon company came in to tell us about their tampons and try and promote their tampons to us. I've said tampons a lot in this video, but yeah, it was strange. And moving on to the number one old-fashioned thing that we have in Ireland that's pretty weird, but we still kind of like having it around, is Daniel O'Donnell. Ah, Daniel, what's the point of you? Nobody knows, but we like having you around. It just gives us a nice, warm, homely feeling when we see you. There's no nicer singer/man in the whole world than Daniel O'Donnell. Is he insanely talented? No. Is he terribly good looking? No. Is he a cultural phenomenon? Yes. It's Daniel O'Donnell, and we love him. And I don't know why, but we just do. And that's it for today's list. Give me a thumbs up while you're there, would you? Feel free to engage with one another in the comments in a respectful way, and I will see you guys on Friday. Bye. So subscribe all your... But yeah, there's something... But yeah, But legitimately, Dublin... If you want, you could go check out the video I made about Jacksepticeye the other day. Nobody watched it. I thought it was good. Coming in at number... Why am I doing that? Tone it down. Hold me now, don't cry. I think that's a Johnny Logan song. What is a Daniel O'Donnell song? I actually don't know a Daniel O'Donnell song. I just know he's a cultural phenomenon.